of spontaneous, can you be in the classroom type meeting. So, all right, so we're going to go through this. I do have a little PowerPoint, but it's really just going to be me talking about what it is that we do in our team. And I'm sure a lot of you guys do a lot of these things. Once I became a coach, and this sort of ties into what Kevin was talking about, when I became a coach, and already had my transformation, my second transformation was really the relationships I built in my team. And that is an ongoing transformation because it's a combination of locking arms with other people and helping them hit their goals, and doing it in the right way. And I feel like that is really where you get the longevity of coaches, is really by creating an awesome team environment. So just to give you guys a little bit of history, I worked for 12 years as an area director for an IT consulting company. And one of the things that a company's called Tech Systems, and they were Aerotech back when I started, and we used to have to do personal development. It was like hands down, we had to do it. And one of the things that they trained us on was basically evaluating your team. And so I'm going to try to explain this, but kind of pull it into Beachbody terms, because it is talking about ranking your team and determining where you're spending time. And obviously we're doing that with every single person as an act of wanting to help those people on our team hit their goals. But at the same time, if you as the leader of your own team has goals, you have to make sure that you're spending your time with the right people that want to be, that want to duplicate what you're trying to do in your team. But I do want to say, like, every person is valuable, whether they're the discount coach, the quote unquote discount coach, or whether they are a star diamond coach. Every single person in a team brings value. So I just want to put that precursor there. But we read this book called Top Grading by Brad Smart, and he has come out with 2 more versions of it that are on my summer reading list. But basically what we did as leaders when I ran this region was we would take our current team, and first of all, we had to make a list of what an A player was like. So if you think of it from a grading scale, you've got your A players, your B players, and your C players. So in a nutshell, your A players are your ones that you're going to spend your most time with. Your B players are the ones that you're going to turn into A players, and your C players are the ones that you're going to determine whether or not this is the right thing for them to be spending their time doing. So first and foremost, we would make a list of what an A player looks like. And so when I started to build my team, I made a list, and it ties into a lot of things, like who my customer avatar is, what my team Faithfully Fit stands for. Faithfully Fit is faith, food, family, and fitness. We all do not need to embody those 4 things, but they have to be teammates that are going to fit within those cornerstones of my team, or else it's not going to be a good fit for them either. And so you want to have a list, and I'll just kind of scoot onto the other slide here. I just gave you guys like a few bullet points. I have a list of like 50 things that I look for A players, but like, these are my top ones. Like, I want someone who's bold and courageous and not afraid to share their story. In the very beginning, I spent way too much time with coaches who absolutely would not put themselves out there on social media. And you all know what happens once the warm market dries up. Those people don't have anywhere to go, and they won't put themselves out there. So I feel like I had diamond coaches that I got to diamond that are no longer diamonds anymore because they weren't afraid. They're too afraid to share their story. So that for me now has to be something like they're bold and courageous. It can be a gradual thing, but I want them to be able to share their story. And if they've got hesitation, then we talk about personal development for them getting over that hump. A heart for helping others, treating the business as a business. That is an A player. Someone who absolutely practices and sees the value in personal development. Someone who wants to duplicate best practices, because that's how your business grows. Someone who solicits feedback on what they can do in order to make changes that are going to make their team grow. Somebody who every single week has either a scheduled power hour or has working hours, and someone who just doesn't make excuses. So like that's a quick snapshot of what an A player on my team looks like. And so I try to say to my coaches who want to really build a business, like come up with what those qualifications are, so that when we go back to here and we're looking at our team and we're looking at, okay, who's our A players? And it can be a coach one day into it that embodies the things that are going to make them a great coach. So once you're able to look at your team and determine who your A, B, and C players are, then you're really able to determine how and who you want to spend the most time with. So I'll just walk you through a little bit on what I do when I allocate my time. So a certain percentage of my time goes towards my team, and that always comes after I have my own backyard in order. So I want to say that, like, I absolutely have to hit Success Club 10. I absolutely have to do my workouts and get my personal development in. So I have my own personal checks that if I'm going to lead through some of the things that I want to be core value for our team, then I have to make sure that I'm doing them too. So when it's all said and done, I take Mondays. Those are my longest working hours. I have an 8-hour day on Monday, and that is all about my backyard, all about my own follow-ups, all about making sure that I'm leading through example. And then the rest of the week is geared toward other things. And so when I talk about spending time with my people, 80% of my time is spent with my A players, 20% of my time is spent with my B players to make them A players. And then the question is, well, what about the C's? And what is a C player? I'm talking about somebody who says that they want to be a coach, who's gone through some sort of a training, but then they sort of just sit there. You know, sometimes there's those people that just never are able to start. Sometimes there's those people that like a month goes by and they hit Success Club 5 and they're like complaining because they only made $300. You know, like that's where you have to look at that group. I'm not talking about a discount coach. I'm talking about someone that you have recruited. They have made a commitment to change other people's lives. And then when it comes time to game time to get their business started, they sort of just sit. So what do we do with those people? So this is how I handle those situations. I basically set an action item for all of my coaches before I'm going to invest like a phone call in them. Because even though it might be a 30-minute phone call scheduled, sometimes it goes over 30 minutes. So what I'll do with my C players, like I've got one right now. She has started and stopped and started and stopped so many times. And I get a text message from her over the weekend. I really need you to mentor me to get my business up and running. I'm like, okay, we have a Zoom call on Wednesday night. We're going to be talking about running freemiums and how to market a freemium and how to help other people on a 5-day freemium. Sit in on that call, and then we can schedule some time Thursday or Friday. We can schedule a 30-minute block to talk about what your idea for a freemium is going to be, and I will help you launch it. Boom. So now that was a text message back. I saw her in the hallway at nursery school. Like, okay, I'll see you Wednesday night. I'm not begging her to be on that call. She knows the call information. If she shows up on that call, I am so happy to sit and have a conversation with her. If she's not on that call, I'm not having a conversation with her on Thursday and Friday. Right? And if she comes back to me and is like, okay, I really need your help, then it'll be something else. Okay. How about you do X, Y, and Z, and then we'll get together and talk about it, and I'll give you the support. So I don't want to beat a dead horse on that one, but she is important to my team. I do keep following up with her, but in a way that's not monopolizing my time and taking time away from my people that really, really want it, need it, and have action items toward growing their business. So what about our B players? Our B players are the ones that they're maybe not that consistent hitting Success Club. Sometimes they hit it, sometimes they don't. Sometimes they're engaged in social media, sometimes they're not. Sometimes they're on Zoom calls, sometimes they make excuses. A B player, I'm thinking of, like I had 2 girls hit Diamond 2 weeks ago, and 2 of my coaches who have not hit Diamond yet, but that have been working toward it, I got phone calls, or I use Voxer, which I'll talk about in a little bit. And it was like, hey, I'm so excited for so-and-so, but I just don't understand what I'm doing wrong not to be a Diamond coach. So those a little bit are B players. We got to work on the mindset shift. We got to help them put the blinders on, and we have to help them look in their backyards to figure out what's going on. Why aren't they a diamond coach? If they feel like they're doing everything, then let's go and sort of get back to the basics with our B players. So with the B players, I'm challenging them to run freemiums. I'm asking if I can be in their freemium to give them feedback. We might do a dual power hour together. Okay, I'm doing a power hour on Wednesday from 2 to 3:30. Why don't you hop on Zoom and we'll do the power hour together? I'll show you what I do. You show me what you do, and we'll do it together. I also will ask a B player if they tell me, I've got one who's like, oh, Facebook is dried up. Facebook is dried up. I don't believe her because she doesn't have as many friends as she should have, but she wants to hit Instagram. I'm like, okay, how about this? You've got a month to learn Instagram, and then you present in a Zoom call what you learned to the rest of the team. And so it forces them to sort of eat that frog on what it is that they need improvement on, and they teach our team. Because anyone who's an Emerald coach has to run at least one Zoom call in a calendar year. Diamonds, they have to run a little bit more. Star Diamonds have to run a little bit more. So that's something that has worked too, is just challenging your B players and allowing them to rise to the occasion, because when they rise to the occasion, guess what? It builds confidence. It builds esteem, and that builds momentum, and momentum builds consistency. And before you know it, boom, you've got another A player. Okay. So your A players, those are the ones that are just like, they'll do whatever you ask them to do. They follow up with you. You guys know, if you're on this call, you all have A players. I will give my A players a one-on-one call as much as they want. Because I feel like those A players are the ones that, if they've got ideas, if they need help with something, if they need to be able to understand team cycle bonus or what have you, and if they want to be able to explain the business opportunity to someone, we'll do calls together. So A players, again, it's 80% of my time is with those A players. So when we talk about how to build team culture, I've sort of talked about you being the leader of your team. You are the one that is going to set the tone. No one on your team is going to work harder than you. So you are the one that sets the bar for the way the rest of your team runs. It doesn't mean I'm not the top SC player on my team. When I hit SC10, the rest of it's going to my husband. I've got girls on my team, SC20, SC30. That's awesome. As long as I'm hitting SC10, I need that time to grow my team, and I'm totally okay with that. But I at least want them to see that I'm doing my personal development. I at least want to, I do live videos in my Facebook team with Faithfully Fit, just talking about the different things that I'm doing to help grow my business. Voxer, some of y'all might know what Voxer is. Voxer is an application that drives my husband crazy. You upload it on your phone, and it's basically a walkie-talkie, but you can listen to the messages at any time. And what I love most about it is that we don't have a lot of times to text. When I'm not working, I try to stay out of Facebook so that I can be intentional with my children. So Voxer is great because I can make Vox groups. Okay, so I will do one-on-one Voxers. I have one whole team, so there's like 40 of us on a Vox chain. That one gets a little bit busy, but it's good for new people. And what I recently did is I created accountability partners. So everyone who goes through an Emerald to Diamond training in my team gets an accountability partner, and they have to be on a Vox chain together so that they can bounce ideas off one another. And there's assignments where I'm making a bridge between the girl out in California and the girl in New Hampshire. Now they are talking, and it's helping our team have communication and really just kind of cheer each other on and learn best practices. The mirror coaching is something that I'll do a lot. So I will take a coach, like one woman just came to me yesterday. She's an A player. She's like, okay, I'm going to have a total vulnerable moment here, but I have a coach. He runs a gym, and he keeps calling these bags of powder. He's like, I sold another bag of powder. And she's like, and he wants to know what he needs to do to build a business. I'm like, okay, so what do you think you need to say to him? She's like, well, first of all, I need to change his mindset. We can't be calling it a bag of powder. I'm like, okay, bingo, you're on to it. So after we talked about changing his mindset, if this person is open to really changing the mindset and coaching and helping the people coming to his gym, then we're going to do a Zoom call, and Megan, my coach, and her guy, Jerry, and myself, where I'm going to present the business opportunity and let Megan watch. And then Megan's got another person that she's recruiting. And what's going to happen is after I do that call, a couple days later, I'm going to get on the Zoom call with Megan again and Megan's other person. And now Megan is going to present the business opportunity. And so we've got that mirror coaching happening. And guess what? I'm going to learn things from my coaches. They're going to learn from me, but I'm going to learn things that they're going to bring to the table. And what happens is we all get better at the same time. So I do that a lot for business opportunity calls, for team cycle bonus conversations. The biggest thing that has happened this year, and it was sort of like a light bulb went off. So I started off this year as a 3-star, bumped back down to a 2-star because one of my diamonds who wouldn't put herself out on social media ended up like her whole business just, what happens? It just collapsed. Got myself back up to a 3-star, and I'm like, okay, if I want to be a 5-star diamond, my main driver isn't really the elite. That would be nice, but I really want to go to that leadership retreat. Like that's been my thing. I want to go to leadership. The 2-star leadership was amazing. I feel like it gave my team so much momentum because you carry that back and you teach your team. So I said to my coaches that could be the ones to become diamonds, I had open dialogue with them. I'm like, okay, you guys want to be diamonds? I want to be at that leadership retreat, which means I have to be a 5-star diamond. So let's talk about goals. Let's talk about timeframes. We all help each other. You guys hitting diamond helps me. And then when I can bring that leadership information back to you, it helps you, and it sets you up halfway through the year to start building out your spouse and your selling coaches so that they can go to the 2-star retreat. So we really tied it all into how our goals affect one another. And we had that open conversation. And that was something I was not doing my first year as a coach. I felt like sharing with a coach, like, hey, if you're a diamond, then I'm a 1-star. I felt like that was, just like a taboo conversation. But it hit me because I have a coach that doesn't sell. So when I became a diamond coach, there was nobody who became a 1-star diamond. But when I became a 1-star diamond coach, the coach that got me to 1-star, she was so excited because it was like a joint effort. And I thought to myself, if I'm not sharing what my goals are and letting these potential diamonds know how they impact the team, then I'm taking that joy away from them. So I had to do it in a way that was like open dialogue about Tracy's goals, open dialogue about your goals. How do they marry each other? How does it impact each of us individually as well as our team? Small gifts and cards in the mail. I'm sure a lot of you guys do that. Social media recognition. That really goes back, guys, to it's so you may have heard of like the love languages and really understanding how people are motivated. Is it through quality time? Is it recognition? Is it words of affirmation? Is it gifts? Obviously the physical intimacy doesn't apply in this, but what is it that's going to drive the people on your team? Because I could get cards all day long and they're great. I'll put them on my bulletin board, but that's not really doing it for me. Like an act of service or some quality time with someone is what's going to make me feel valued. So you have to figure out for that person on your team, what is it? And I have a lot of girls that love to get the small gifts. So we do a lot of that. Local team building. So we do it quarterly. Tonight, we're doing a wine tasting event over in New Canaan, which is going to be super fun. And everyone just gets together and just kind of like, we don't even really talk a lot of shop. It's just getting to know one another and asking about families and children and goals and dreams and the whole 9 yards. Okay. I'm going to skip Diamond Retreat in a second, but spending money on your team. So like Shalene always talks about, and a ton of business people always talk about, you have to spend money to make money. And a lot of times we think of that as like, oh, spending money on a summit ticket. Oh, spending money on a virtual administrative assistant. I think of it as like, I'm spending the most of my money on my team, on a team dinner, on a diamond retreat, on a wine night. Like I do those things because that goes a long way. So we're not in corporate America. We don't have a corporate card that we can just like buy lunch, but those things do really make a difference. And when you take $200, I think our last quarterly event was like $200. We did chips and salsa and margaritas and all like non-21 day fixed things, but it shows on social media that we're real too. When I picked up that tab, there were people that were like, oh my God, like they couldn't believe it because they know it's coming out of my pocket, but they also know that I want to do it because I value spending time with them. I value spending time with them. And I want them to know that I care about each and every one of them. And that is important. And I feel like that's a big part of our culture. The Zoom call roster, I already talked about that. Really just we have a roster in the Google Drive. Once they get through the Emerald to Diamond training, they have to go sign up for a Zoom call and put their topic down. And I always make sure before they put their topic down, we have a conversation. And again, it goes to their topic has to be something they're not comfortable with. And we do a Diamond retreat. We're having our first one this year in January because I wanted to set the tone for the year ahead. And I put specifics around it. So it's not just like, hey, you have to hit Diamond in 2016. No, they have to hit Diamond they have to hit it and hold it for the last 6 weeks of the year, just like we do when we're holding our Diamond status. So again, it goes toward being a team. We're going to bunk up in a hotel. We're going to do obviously some business building stuff, but I have a photographer coming and he's going to take pictures so that everyone can have a banner and a profile pic that's professional. And we're going to talk a lot about branding. So that's my treat to them, is having this photographer come for 6 hours. A lady's coming to do hair and makeup. And that is my like Christmas gift, Diamond gift. And they want to go to that retreat. They want the photographer, they want the time. So again, it just goes into just making sure that you're spending some time together. Okay, the last thing is the team contest. So I do a lot of team contests too. So here's an example of what we've done. Again, I think it goes back to evaluating your team. Like I always pick something I feel like we're not doing well as a team, myself included. So the very last week of May, I did a vital behaviors contest, and I just posted this on our team page. They got points. Maybe I ran it for 2 weeks. I can't remember, but they got points for literally doing the vital behaviors. They had to post their points. This little graphic was made, and Heidi got a really cute t-shirt in the mail. And the contest we have going on now is social media. So they have to post 2 times a day on some sort of social media. They have to help at least 3 people change their lives with the challenge pack. And then I'll draw on our next team call, our last team call of the month. I'll draw and they can pick if they want the tea, the coffee, the hat, or the bangle bracelet. So I do a lot of those too, because I had 2 coaches that went live in our group because they like to use our group to practice live videos. And they went live in the group just explaining what the vital behaviors and sticking to it hard for 2 weeks, what that did for their business. And that was all unsolicited. They did all that on their own, just sharing. And then it just starts to build momentum in our team. So we're a work in progress. Consistency. We're a work in progress, but I can't say enough about that book that I read 14 years ago. Top grading. I'm going to read the updates, but it's just so important that we are really spending time looking at our teams and treating our coaches just as we would a challenger, and finding out what those goals are, and then really working with those people to help them to be the best of their potential. So that's all I got.
Holy freaking cow. That is a mic drop right there. Tracy, that was, I love, guys, I love that we share information. Like these are your secrets to your success. And here you are just freely giving it to everybody else. And we are so grateful that you did that. What an awesome PowerPoint. If you could, Tracy, put that PowerPoint on the group page. I am positive we're going to go back to that. We're going to look at like that graph of how to earn points, and then going back to some of the bullet points that you talked about. That is killer. Okay, but I do want to leave time for questions. I know there's
I just saw the chat. Sorry guys, I couldn't see that when the PowerPoint was up. Okay, so Meredith, do I share the list with the team? Are you talking about, do I tell them if they're A, B, or C? Is that what you mean?
Yeah, like do you share the list with them and say, hey, this is basically, I'm spending my time with the people that are doing things on the A list. So figure out where you are, and now you'll know why I'm paying attention to you or not.
You know what? I tell people if they're an A player, I just say to them, like, I'm spending time with you because you do what I ask, and not like that I'm their boss, but like I only have more time than they do. That's the only difference between the 2 of us, is that I've been doing it longer. So I'll let them know, and I'll say to like a player who's a B player, like the woman who is like complaining because she's not a diamond and everyone else is a diamond and I'm not a diamond. And I was like, you know what, so-and-so, I understand that it's hard not to, not to start looking at what everyone else is doing, but here's some things that I think that I've seen that you've struggled with, and here's some books that would be really helpful. And then we have a conversation. Like, I know where it's stemming from, just the comparing piece of it. But I do have a list on our team page just on what we look for as a coach, but I encourage them to make their own. Because really, some of the coaches on my team don't think it's as important as posting on social media. Because, like when you're first starting and you've got new coaches and the new coach is like, oh, I'm not sure I want to be on social media, which is exactly what happened to me. And you're like, oh, it's okay. I can get them to change. As soon as they get a taste of it, I'll get them to change. And that happened to me. And I had a diamond that that vanished. And until that happens, you can only look back and say, wow, what did I learn from it? So a couple of them don't really agree with that piece of it. And they're like, well, Tracy, I want to run with this person who won't post on social media. And I'll say to them, absolutely, give them all the time that you think they deserve. But I'm letting you know, if they don't ever change and their market dries up, you will have a coach that's not motivated anymore because they're not hitting Success Club. So you got to make the decision on your own. Okay. You're new to the group. What's a freemium? So Beth, a freemium is like something that you offer for free on Facebook or Instagram. I'm sure everybody here does it a little bit differently. Our team has a Google Drive of free freemium. So 5 days of drinking water, 5 days. I just did a 5-day squat and ab challenge. I'm about to do 5 days of savory summer snacks. And so what you do, the key to these freemiums is marketing. And you try to get friends of friends to invite people into this group. And then you offer them recipes or workout moves or what have you for 5 days. And then it's over. And so when I do a freemium, I'm not talking Beachbody, although I might be doing a video with my Shakeology cup. I mean, I'm going to be subtle about it, but I will say I'm a health and fitness coach, but I don't even use the word Beachbody. But what I'm doing is I'm personally reaching out to every single person in my freemium. And so my last freemium, I had 200 people and I only got 3 new challengers out of it. So it's not always about quantity, because I've had freemiums. I did a crock pot one in the fall and I was like really discouraged because I only had 32 people, but I got 6 challenge packs. I got 6 people into challenge groups. So it's never about the amount. It's about the quality and the kind of conversations you can have, but offering someone something for free just to start building trust. Oh, sorry, Meredith, you already answered that question. Sorry, guys.
That might be I think that's the end of those questions. Unless anybody else have comments or questions they want to point out. How much more I'm excited to get up and do my workout. Maybe not. Okay, then let's go to comments on what you guys do in addition, because Tracy nailed some awesome points. But maybe things that you guys are doing to help build the team culture on your team. Maybe that Tracy didn't mention. Does anybody have additional things that they would like to add?
I'll add something for some of the newer coaches, and this might be helpful for those of you that have diamonds that are kind of starting out, because once your teams get larger, it's a little bit harder to pinpoint people. But I think recognition is so huge, and a lot of the time we recognize rank, on our team calls. And while that's great, I think a lot of the time it puts a focus on the wrong area sometimes. So what I used to do when I was first getting started out that was really successful was I'd have a rock star of the week and a gold digger of the week. So a rock star is usually like a newer coach, like someone who's either emerald or below, that's like, rocking the vital behaviors or consistently posting or something. And you kind of recognize them for that. And then the gold digger of the week was someone who achieved a goal that's non-rank or income related. So maybe they, lost 5 pounds or signed up their first challenger or something like that. And that really helped initially to start building momentum and also helping people realize that it's not always all about rank or income. It can be, it stems from those basic behaviors. So just a tip that maybe you guys want to pass on to some of your developing diamonds for them to build their team culture too.
Very cool. I love that idea. Alora, please.
Yeah, I was going to just bounce off of that. I do a Words of Affirmation Wednesday, and then I'll pick 3 to 5 people throughout the week who I've noticed them posting more on their like page, or they went to the doctors and the doctor's like, oh my God, how did you lose that weight? And she can tell her story to her doctor. So I'll kind of recap the week for, 3 to 5 people and let my team know about their activities. So I'm sharing what they're doing into the team page so other people can see how they're sharing and how they're working out their story in their life. And most of the activities or the things I share aren't business related. They're just personally doing life and sharing their story. So.
Very good. Love it. Okay. Well, guys, I am a huge fan of this topic, and Tracy, you did such a great job. Thank you so much for sharing all that information. Now, just getting back into the groove, remember, each week I want you guys to, hopefully throughout this call, you've thought of something that piqued your interest that you would like to try this week. Please go back to our group Facebook page, post on there what you're going to do, so that we all can see it and we all can be held accountable for that. And then hopefully, like I said, the point of these calls, guys, is to create action. If we just come and listen and then go back to our daily work, these calls aren't working. Something needs to change. We need to keep progressing forward, moving forward, and these calls are intended for that. So please go do that. And lastly, my gosh, Samantha, you have got to model that T-shirt for us that you're wearing right now. What is that shirt? That is an awesome shirt. Everybody, go get your own shirt. Create a diamond. Get a free T-shirt. You guys will look awesome in it. With that, thank you again, Tracy, and thanks for everybody for showing up. We will see you guys next week.
Bye, everybody.